Could the largest superpredator in Earth's history survive in the alien oceans of Pandora? Otodus Megalodon, known informally as just Megalodon, was a gigantic whale-hunting shark from the Miocene Epoch of our planet's ancient past. Known for its powerful bite, immense size, and pop culture impact, Megalodon was an apex predator that dwarfed most other animals in the fossil record. But will its size and strength measure up when it's plopped into the waters of the Avatar film series? We'll cover how Megalodon will adapt to the alien environment of its new home, hunt down prey to fill its hunger, and compete with the Hanger of Pandora's native carnivores. Let's dive in. First, we need to understand some basic stats and inferred behavior for the megatoothed shark. We all know it was a big carnivore, big enough to eat the various species of baleen whales it lived with, but what does that really mean? The most recent peer-reviewed reconstructions of the beast estimate typical adults at 14 to 16 meters, 46 to 52 feet long, with corresponding masses of 20 to 30 plus metric tons, or 44,000 pounds on the low end. That's just for an average adult. The biggest specimens ever found, like the Danish giant Ragnarok, would be about 24 meters or 79 feet long, weighing approximately 94 tons. While that's not as big as the largest ichthyosaurs like the Aust colossus, we have strong evidence that Megalodon ate meat and actively hunted large prey. At any rate, even a regular Megalodon adult is 10 to 15 times the weight of the biggest great white sharks ever found, making it an absolute monster of an ocean predator. With a name like Megatooth, you'd expect it to have a bite to match. And it does. Adjusting previous bite force models to the new reconstruction yields a range of 40 to 79,000 newtons for a 16-meter meg's bite, comparable to higher estimates for Tyrannosaurus rex. The uber giant Ragnarok would bite down with 86,000 to 169,000 newtons, which would give it the strongest bite known from the fossil record. With such incredible size and strength, a sacrifice must be made for speed. A 2025 study indicated that a Megalodon's cruising speed, or its casual swimming rate, would be about 2 miles an hour, although its top speed would be faster. That's comparable to basking and whale sharks, which have a top speed of 11 miles or 18 kilometers an hour. That's twice as fast as the fastest human swimmer ever, so even though it sounds slow, you'd be cooked if you tried to escape one underwater. It would have used its bite and speed in order to prey on a wide variety of animals, and its diet likely changed somewhat with age. A 2024 tooth morphology study concluded that Megalodon could have easily preyed on a wide variety of animals, including soft-bodied invertebrates as well as vertebrates like fish, turtles, mammals, and other shark relatives. We even have bite marks on seals and whales that correspond to Megalodon teeth. Its generalist diet would certainly be an advantage when placed into a totally alien environment. Speaking of environment, let's take a look at the Pandoran Ocean that we're about to invade. Home to the water-faring Metkayina clan of Na'vi, the Eastern Sea is the region seen in the films, and consists of huge coastal reefs surrounded by open ocean. Massive rock formations form islands around which coral conglomerates form, but most of the life we've observed is closer to the shore. Megalodon was a cosmopolitan species, meaning it had virtually global distribution on our planet and was successful in a wide variety of ocean types. Pandora, as a mostly tropical and warm planet, has the perfect waters, although we will need to hand-wave the alien gas mixture within the water itself so that our earthfish can actually breathe. The open ocean just beyond the coast may be prime hunting grounds, although we'll cover food more in a moment, while the coral reefs are better suited for placing nurseries. Megalodon young congregated in shallow water, high productivity areas while they were in the 3 to 7 meter range before striking out into deeper waters where they could find bigger prey. Gravid females, typically in the 10.5 to 17 meter range and at least 25 years old, would briefly come to the shallows to give birth. Megalodon's slow growth means that higher energy needed to be invested into making sure their young survive to carry on the future for the species, and this slow reproductive rate is actually suggested by a 2020 study to be partially responsible for their extinction. While the temperature and water depths are just like home, Pandora offers a unique obstacle that affects sharks in particular: large-scale electromagnetic disturbances, thanks to the crust's high density of superconductive metals and the complex interactions between the alien moon and its sun, as well as the gas giant Polyphemus. These can cause seasonal extremities like the Flux Devil outside of the Metkayina clan sacred site, essentially a super intense aurora that can tear apart RDA battleships like paper. To gauge direction and even target prey, I would argue that Pandora's unique electromagnetic properties could cause significant difficulties in terms of navigation and possibly even prey capture. If the Megalodon population survives more than a few generations, then perhaps they'd become accustomed to the way the alien planet functions. We'll cover speculative evolution at the end of the video though, so put a pin in that thought. For now, I'll give the megasharks a 5 out of 10 for home. The ocean is warm, there's plenty of nursing grounds and no shortage of space, but having something as fundamental as electromagnetism flip-flopping in completely unexpected ways could wreak havoc on predators specialized to use bioelectricity. I don't think it'll drive them to extinction, but any progress they make in the environment would be very slow. Now for hunger, or how Megalodon hunts on a planet of aliens. While the adults specialize in megafauna like whales, there are plenty of small animals on Pandora that would be viable targets for the young that crowd around coral reefs. Something has to feed those giant shark nurseries after all. The most important, if perhaps bland, food resource is the Pandoran sardine. This fish-like alien travels in enormous schools and is the main dietary item of the native Tulkun, thanks to their tendency to form huge bait balls that are easy for large jaws to process. Young and adult Megalodon would need to learn to target them in bulk in order to get worthwhile calories out of them, but that's a different behavior from the medium-large prey focus they're used to, especially when fully grown. What are some other targets they could take down? Feathertail fish are bitter-tasting enough that the native Metcaina clan never eat them, which reduces competition, although they're common prey for other carnivores in the reef. Flat skatefish apparently taste better, but are extremely fast and hard to catch. This one would be a rare delicacy for Megalodon given the speed difference between the two. Hammerbrow fish are small, but travel in groups of up to a dozen individuals and have no apparent defenses. They'd be a great option for young Megs learning how to hunt. Sagittaria are typically found in the freshwater lakes and rivers of inland environments, but can on occasion venture out into the shallow ocean regions as well. Their hard shell protects them from baby Megs, but an encounter with an adult would result in a calamari dinner for the shark. Pandoran otterfins, or zuksuk, are brightly colored duraphages that closely resemble semi-aquatic mustelids on Earth. Fast, clever, and social, they can clap their jaws loudly to warn others of danger and hide in the coral of their home reefs. This early warning system would make them difficult targets for alien sharks. The skimwing is a long, fast carnivore that resembles a flying fish crossed with a giant gharial. At over 14 meters long, they're the length of an adult Megalodon themselves, although more lightly built. They're fast swimmers with incredible endurance, able to maintain speeds of 40 miles or 65 kilometers an hour for hours at a time, with top burst speeds of 58 miles or 92 kilometers an hour. Their ability to breach the surface and surge in the air-water interface with their powerful tail makes them great battle mounts for skilled Metcaina warriors. Their importance to the Na'vi, combined with their frankly insane speed, means that successful predation attempts on skimwings by Megalodon would be extraordinarily rare. How about the Elu? These plesiosaur-like creatures average about 7 meters or 23 feet long, and while fast, at 37 miles or 60 kilometers an hour top speed, don't have the blistering velocity of skimwings. Elu have multiple pairs of fins that keep them flexible and agile, and are actually air-breathing animals similar to the plesiosaurs they resemble. They communicate with one another using echolocation and are very common. Again, their speed and agility are going to be a serious problem for a predator that evolved to hunt whales, but we do have fossil evidence that Megalodon was able to capture small cetaceans like dolphins, as well as pinnipeds, which are also fast and agile. They may have been faster than we think, or could be very skilled ambush predators. Either way, a prey item being fast doesn't guarantee that Megalodon couldn't target it. By far the biggest potential source of calories for the megatooth shark is the Tulkun, Pandora's whale-like resident. Tulkun are gentle giants, eating only small fish and swearing off other violence, except when they're put into existential crises. Tulkun are incredibly intelligent and social, living in huge pods led by matriarchs, and operate on a different level entirely than anything Megalodon has ever encountered. They're covered in armor that can no-sell bullets and most conventional weaponry, for one. Even small adults can damage metal battleships, too. And 3, they're absolutely enormous. A typical adult female Tulkun is 70 meters long, with the males averaging 80. As we discussed in my recent collaboration with Creature Archives on the subject, that translates to masses well in excess of 4,000 metric tons when scaling up from humpback whales, which are actually lighter proportionally due to their lack of armor. The biggest Tulkun ever recorded was a matriarch approximately 100 meters long, who would have weighed over 8,000 tons. That's on par with some of the biggest Subnautica leviathans and is nearly 100 times the mass of the largest Megalodon specimen ever recorded. With a top speed of 25 miles an hour, they're also fairly quick swimmers, as if being monsterverse kaiju wasn't enough. These animals are not recommended as targets, to put it lightly. Otodus Megalodon earns a mediocre 4 out of 10 for its hunger score, continuing a worrying trend. Most of the food items here are small and extremely fast, and the medium-sized animals are ridiculously fast, in addition to living in cooperative groups with early warning systems. Tulkun are genuinely built different and wouldn't even need to break their vow of pacifism if a Megalodon tried to attack one. Things aren't looking too great right now for Earth's biggest super predator. Maybe Hanger is where it can rally? Skimwings and Elu are both competitors for the small fish in the reef and open water areas, along with the titanic Tulkun. While those three wouldn't necessarily be hunting Megalodon, although skimwings have jaws large enough to potentially go after young sharks, their far superior speed makes them better adapted predators to hunt the native fauna. But they're not all that the Pandoran oceans have to offer. Far from it. Southern squid rays, or seong, are typically deep ocean predators, living near hydrothermal vents and using their many pronged tentacles to capture small prey. Normally they wouldn't be a problem, but on occasion they'll rise up in large groups from the depths and wreak havoc on even organized Metcaina hunting parties. They're fast and extremely strong, capable of ripping through glass and metal submarines with their beaks and hunt in packs. Hopefully they won't have a reason to emerge from their dark marine underworld. The Nalutsa are going to be a much more relevant problem. Heavily armored 40-meter super carnivores, Nalutsa specialize in taking down large prey. They breach from the ocean to ambush flying animals like skimwings and certainly seem capable of hunting in the water as well. At nearly triple the length of a typical Megalodon, Nalutsa would be an absolute menace and might make the visitor sharks a priority on their menu. But they're not the scariest predator that AWA's cooked up. That honor goes to the infamous Akula, another reef carnivore that's bigger, meaner, and faster. At 60 meters long, the Akula would weigh approximately 3,400 metric tons, scaling up from great white sharks. Akulas will hunt anything that moves and can rip through coral reefs to get at their prey, using their triple jaw system to crush the target. We should also discuss the Metkaina factor. The water-loving Navi clan typically only take out predators if they're an active threat to their home, which is unlikely for Megalodon. They'd be wary of the new creatures in their ocean, especially when teaching their young to swim and ride their aquatic mounts, but little would truly change for them. Probably because the Megalodon population only earns a Hanger score of 3 out of 10. There are multiple other carnivores here that would hunt the same fish and massively outspeed them, consistently beating them to the punch and making it difficult to obtain the necessary calories to survive. Megalodon can't rely on its impressive bulk to make a splash either, since the shark-like apex predator niches are filled by the Nalutsa and Akula, which brutally outcompete the Meg in every single category and would view the shark as more of a snack than a competitor. It's crazy to me that Subnautica would be a better home for Megalodon than Pandora, but here we are. Ecology is weird like that. That's an overall Thrive or Eaten Alive score of 4 out of 10, below the 5 minimum required to maintain a stable population. Megalodon would simply be overwhelmed by the numerous disadvantages here, even giving it the ability to breathe in Pandoran water. Their electromagnetic senses would be thrown off, the food profile is drastically different, the competition is extremely stiff, and even the biggest Megalodon specimens in Earth's history would stand no chance against the existing apex predators. The megatooth shark is, unfortunately, getting eaten alive. That is, however, not accounting for the potential for modifications. We've seen in Fire and Ash how AWA can make molecular level changes to organisms to fit them into her world and ecosystem, even giving them access to the neural network. In this scenario, the alien fungus goddess is fascinated by the new creatures and decides to incorporate them into her ocean environment, altering them at the biochemical scale to create Pandoran versions of Megalodon. The first variant is the Ukiomski, Eclipse Jaw. This descendant of Megalodon is smaller on average, about 10 meters or 33 feet long when fully grown, and is sleek and streamlined with a high density of fast-twitch muscle fibers to enable incredible bursts of speed. The Eclipse Jaw specializes in hunting Pandoran sardines, starting in from underneath the schools of fish and then unfolding its sarcastic fringe head-like mouth to swallow as many fish as possible via suction feeding. This enables it to take advantage of a food source that its ancestors weren't specialized for, and with its top speed of 50 miles or 80 kilometers an hour, it's able to eat its fill of Pandoran sardines before the Tulkun pods can get all of them. Eclipse jaws have become common as a result and are frequently seen in the Eastern Sea. The Ranten Yoks, or Spirit Shield. Occasionally, threats arise to the Metkaina spirit tree, which is how AWA communicates with the Navi and allows them access to the souls of their ancestors. To protect the spirit tree from those who would cause it harm, AWA developed the Ranten Yoks. These powerful armored sharks have amplified electrosensory capabilities that allow them to detect threats from several miles away, and can even channel the powerful magnetic fields of the area through their skulls to create an electromagnetic blast. This acts as an EMP against RDA technology and causes a strong disorienting effect in biological targets. It is then when the Ranten Yoks can bring their bone-crushing jaws into play, eliminating threats. Spirit shields are enormous for reef dwellers, at 30 meters long, and eat whatever offerings the Metkaina bring them as payment for their spiritual protection. The Tapazong, or Sky Shark. As we've seen in previous battles, AWA is not above providing direct assistance against invasion when her Navi children are in serious danger. That extends to developing new resources to use to protect her interests. The Sky Shark is the ocean's answer to RDA aerial vehicles, which have proven to be problematic in the past. Tapazong are enormous, 50 meters long, and their bullet-shaped bodies have thick, sharp battering rams on the front portions of their skulls that can rip right through solid steel. Sky sharks, when taking down a target, dive hundreds of meters down and then build up speed before exploding into the air using all of the force their specially designed bodies can generate. They can take down vehicles as high as 300 meters in the air, and their armor is thick enough to tank weapons barrages, making them serious threats to invasive military groups. Which Spec Evo Megashark was your favorite? Don't forget to check out my collab with Creature Archives on if Tulkun could survive in Subnautica, and if you enjoy time-displaced prehistoric creatures, you may also enjoy my book Extinction Obsidian Dawn, which is a military fantasy pitting the Aztecs against Carthage, but if both sides had psychic dinosaurs. The link is in the description. I appreciate your support for the channel and everything I'm trying to do, and thank you for subscribing if you're interested in more videos like this. I'm the Vividen, and I'll see you the next time prehistoric super predators take on awesome aliens.